The thrilling story begins on August 6, 1897, with an empty ship named Demeter. Strangely, there was no one aboard. When the ship finally reached the shore, the police arrived to investigate. To their surprise, they found nothing on board. Everyone wondered how this empty ship had ended up in a different city. During their investigation, the police discovered the captain's diary. It stated that if a certain object fell into the hands of humans, it could bring catastrophic destruction, just like what had happened to the ship. Upon witnessing the eerie state of the ship, fear slithers over the investigators. Following this, the story takes us back in time, revealing events from 3 weeks prior. Now, we'll uncover the events leading up to the mysterious ship. Our story takes us back to the ship called Demeter, where the captain was busy loading cargo. The task was quite demanding, and he needed more hands to help. That's when he encountered a man named Clemens, who happened to be a doctor. However, the captain wasn't in need of a doctor to load the cargo. He required laborers. Clemens expressed his desire to travel to London for work and asked if he could join the crew on the ship. Unfortunately, the captain declined his request. As the cargo was being loaded onto the ship, some individuals who initially planned to accompany the captain changed their minds. They returned their fare, explaining that it was too late to embark on the journey. Meanwhile, as the remaining passengers were helping with the cargo, a crate nearly fell on a child. This child happened to be the captain's grandson, and it was Clemens who saved him from harm. Grateful for Clemens' quick action, the captain had a change of heart and agreed to take him aboard. The crate had almost fallen due to another passenger's fear. This passenger had noticed peculiar markings on the crate resembling a dragon, which terrified him. Consequently, he decided not to join the captain and expressed his fear and anger by shouting at him. Once all the luggage had been stowed, the journey began with some passengers, including Clemens, on board. As people watched them set sail, they uttered prayers for their safety out of fear. The captain's grandson proudly showed Clemens around the ship, while the captain diligently recorded his experiences in his diary, a habit he often followed during his voyages. The captain began his journey and wrote his first journal entry, mentioning that it would take them 3 weeks to complete this voyage. It was the first day of their journey. One day, a crew member named Wojciech approached the captain and learned that the captain intended to retire after reaching London and take care of his grandson, with plans to pass the ship on to Wojciech. Wojciech felt both happy and a bit sad upon hearing this news. The following day, the captain gathered all the crew members to discuss their wages. However, Clemens declined any salary. At this moment, strange noises filled the air. Curious, Clemens went to investigate but found no one there. Suddenly, a storm engulfed the sea, causing their ship to collide with a massive wave. During the chaos of this incident, a large crate tumbled over, revealing a significant amount of soil. To everyone's astonishment, they also discovered a girl hidden within the soil. Wojciech expressed suspicion, suggesting that someone might have intentionally placed the girl among them, potentially posing a threat and should kill her. The captain chose not to believe Wojciech's suspicions and instead instructed Clemens, who was a doctor, to attend to the sick girl. Upon examining her, Clemens discovered that the girl was severely ill and urgently needed a significant amount of blood. Clemens donated his own blood once, but it was clear that she required more than he could provide. It appeared as if all the blood had been drained from her body. On that same night, we noticed the crate with the dragon-like markings that had terrified one of the crew members earlier, in which a peculiar and frightening creature emerged from the box. Meanwhile, Clemens left the captain's grandson in the care of the girl he was treating and ventured out. He encountered another of Wojciech's companions who shared Wojciech's concerns about the girl's presence on the ship. While Clemens was looking through binoculars, he caught a glimpse of the mysterious creature, which left him deeply frightened. He rushed to share this with others, but they dismissed his account, attributing it to delusion. As events unfolded, the captain's grandson's dog ventured into the ship's basement and encountered something menacing. After some time, a crew member entered the area where the animals were kept to feed them, only to find all the animals dead. This discovery filled everyone with fear. The captain, suspecting foul play among his own crew, challenged whoever was responsible to step forward. However, his workers accused Clemens of being behind the deaths and blamed the unconscious girl as well. The captain defended the girl, stating that she couldn't have caused this harm. Upon closer examination, the captain realized that the animals had succumbed to a contagious infection. In response, he ordered the disposal of the deceased animals into the water. 2 weeks had passed since the beginning of their journey, but they still had 2 more weeks to reach their destination. Unfortunately, the unconscious girl showed no signs of improvement. The captain began to suspect that a dark force was influencing her, a suspicion shared by both himself and Clemens. However, others were reluctant to believe this. The captain's grandson revealed that he had heard the girl, while unconscious, repeatedly uttering the name Anna. She kept saying it over and over again. When they hear this, everyone wonders, what might this mean? The worker tells Clemens that the person who discovered the dead animals claims that there are no longer any rat sounds in the ship, which he heard while wandering around the ship at night. Clemens speculates that perhaps they too perished from an illness. The employee replies that it is not possible. How are the rats all going to perish at once? Undoubtedly, something killed the rats first, then all the animals. Something hazardous exists that is bad for all of us. A member of their team hears certain noises at night because of this. When he checks, he finds that the monster is still there, just as the first watchman's companion had also seen it. He attacks the man out of nowhere. All of his blood was sucked. He then moves to the side and devours his corpse. Actually, it was a Dracula creature that ate people after sucking their blood. After some time has passed, Clemens also arrives and notices the damaged area of the ship. But he is completely incomprehensible. Everyone got there early in the morning because the captain was concerned. First, the animals on the ship had died, and then one of their team members had disappeared. They found a dropped knife at the same spot where the man had gone missing. This made the workers start suspecting Clemens. They wondered if he might be behind all these troubling events. However, Clemens tried to reassure them, saying he would never harm anyone. He had examined the dead animals and had a feeling that something or someone else had caused their deaths. During this unsettling time, the unconscious girl, Anna, woke up. She became frightened when she overheard their discussions. Anna begged Clemens to leave the ship, warning that there was a dangerous presence on board that could harm them all. Clemens took care of her, understanding that Anna might be confused after being unconscious for so long. He spoke with her to learn more about her fears. Anna proceeded to share a disturbing story. She claimed to have lived near a mountain palace where a Dracula-like monster resided. This creature only came out at night to drink the blood of humans. Anna used to live near the monster's palace, and every night, he would come and slowly drain her blood bit by bit. Anna showed Clemens the marks on her body as evidence of the Dracula's attacks. She insisted that the creature had followed them onto the ship and posed a deadly threat to everyone on board. One rainy night, a crew member on the ship heard peculiar sounds. When he investigated, he encountered the Dracula monster, which attacked him. Another crew member rushed to his aid, but the Dracula had already killed him. During this horrifying encounter, the ship began to shake violently, awakening everyone on board. Surprisingly, the companion who had been attacked by the Dracula was still alive, as the creature had only drained his blood, leaving him severely injured and in excruciating pain. The captain diligently recorded these terrifying incidents in his diary, documenting the harrowing experiences they were facing. It became clear to everyone that the Dracula monster appeared at night. In response, the captain ordered 2 companions to arm themselves with guns and stand guard, while the rest of the crew, along with Votsek, embarked on a search of the ship. They took precautions, tying up Votsek's injured companion out of fear that the Dracula's bite might turn him into one of them, a vampire. Meanwhile, the captain's grandson, who had been in the ship's lobby, ventured outside. Votsek's companion had indeed transformed into a Dracula, and he launched an attack on the captain's grandson, who managed to lock himself inside a cabin and cry out for help. Upon hearing his calls, everyone rushed to his aid. When they entered the cabin, they were met with the sight of the transformed companion, who had become a Dracula. Desperate to open the cabin door, they peered through a hole and spotted the Dracula monster inside with the captain's grandson. Before they could intervene, the Dracula attacked the young boy, biting him and rendering him unconscious. The situation became dire. Anna, taking swift action, seized a gun and fired it, opening the cabin door. However, the damage was done, as the Dracula had already bitten the captain's grandson. The boy lay unconscious, causing great concern among the crew. Clemens did his best to treat him, even providing his own blood. As morning broke, the vampire Dracula met its demise, disintegrating in the sunlight. Votsek also took a shot, ensuring its destruction. With the threat of the Dracula finally eliminated, the crew gathered to talk and share their experiences during that fateful night. One of the companions voiced a haunting question, wondering if they were being punished for their sins. Clemens, however, dismissed the idea, expressing his worry that the captain's grandson, bitten by the Dracula, might suffer the same fate as their transformed companion. Votsek, in his anxiety, suggested the drastic solution of killing the young boy, but Clemens opposed this idea, insisting they should seek a way to save him. Clemens, accompanied by Anna, began searching through the ship's cargo. They eventually found the crate that had once contained the Dracula but discovered it to be empty. The Dracula had left in pursuit of its prey and attacked another one of the captain's companions, who attempted to escape in a small boat out of fear. By morning, the captain received the devastating news of his grandson's death. He was overwhelmed with grief. As they prepared to dispose of the boy's body in the water, a shocking discovery was made: the captain's grandson showed signs of life. However, upon closer inspection, it became clear that he had also turned into a Dracula. The sunlight began to burn him, and in desperation, they threw him into the water, ending his suffering. The captain was left deeply saddened by the loss of his grandson. That's why everyone sends him to rest. Clemens and the remaining companions devised a plan to capture Dracula. They recognized that catching the elusive vampire would be no easy feat. Their strategy involved luring Dracula into a trap, intending to drown him in the ship's waters. Clemens approached the captain with their plan, but the captain refused. He revealed that Dracula had made a promise to him to return his grandson. Anna, however, interjected, sharing her own experience of how Dracula had deceived and entrapped her, slowly draining her blood while keeping her locked in a box. Her testimony resonated with the captain, who began to understand the gravity of the situation. Realizing that the one person he had wanted to live for was no longer in this world, the captain made a final decision. He chose to take matters into his own hands and steer the ship himself, with a determined resolve. Night fell, and the captain set his trap for Dracula, fully aware of the difficulty of the task. Suddenly, Dracula launched an attack on one of the companions. Then he attacked on Voyage, leaving him severely wounded. In response, Voyage frantically began digging within the ship, trying to escape. However, Dracula swiftly caught up to him, ultimately killing him as well. The relentless vampire then turned his attention to the captain, launching a deadly assault that ended the captain's life. In his final moments, the captain entrusted Clemens with his diary, urging him to share their horrifying story with the world, so that the truth of their ordeal would be known. Clemens, overcome with anger, shouted at Dracula, challenging the vampire's godlike pretensions and declaring that he was not afraid. Dracula, however, seized Clemens by the neck and taunted him, claiming he would instill fear in him. At that critical moment, Anna intervened, firing a shot at Dracula. The vampire, enraged and intent on harming Anna, moved to attack her. Clemens came to Anna's rescue, but Dracula grabbed him, ready to deliver a fatal blow. In a desperate move, Anna cut a large rope, causing a wooden pole to fall and bury Dracula beneath it. With Dracula seemingly defeated, Anna and Clemens leapt into the water, their escape marking the story's return to its beginning scene, where the Demeter ship had reached the empty shore. The story took a surprising turn as the Demeter ship arrived at the empty shore, leaving everyone bewildered. The ship was abandoned, and Dracula had seemingly disappeared. Clemens and Anna, after swimming to safety, found themselves in a different place. However, Anna had turned into a Dracula, as the vampire had wounded her and consumed her blood. She separated from Clemens and met her demise when the first rays of sunlight burned her. Several days later, the scene shifted to London, where the tale of the Demeter ship had become a topic of conversation, thanks to the captain's diary that revealed their harrowing experiences. However, no one was aware of Clemens and Dracula's presence, still hidden in the city. Clemens was determined to seek revenge on Dracula and began searching for the vampire in the city. Unbeknownst to him, Dracula was living among humans, disguised in human clothing, with his eyes fixed on Clemens. The two were now on a collision course, setting the stage for an unresolved confrontation as the movie's suspenseful ending left viewers wondering whether Clemens would succeed in finding and confronting Dracula. Thank you for watching our recap. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and feel free to explore our other recaps.